Welcome to session 2 on the foundation and process for making disciples. Now, as a person, as a human being, we can't do everything. We have to prioritize what we can do and what we should do. I believe that every Christian needs to make disciples. This is not just the responsibility of the pastor or staff, paid staff, or missionaries or something like that. That every person is called to take who they are and what God has done in their life and impart it to others who will impart it to others who will impart it to others. However, it is the senior leaders of the church's responsibility to communicate this vision and this responsibility, and it's his responsibility to create a structure and a system to make it happen. But priorities, we have to establish priorities. So we have to think of family, we have to think of health, we have to think of recreation, we have to think of work and all these things. But when it comes to making disciples, for choosing disciples and investing or choosing people that we want to help become a disciple and investing in them, we have to think about our priorities. I'm reminded of the parable of the sower, the farmer who walked along the pathway and seed fell down and some sprouted up according to the ground. That's found in Matthew 13 verses 1 through 9, and verses 18 through 23 is the explanation. And so here's the principle. This is what I get out of it, out of that parable when it is applied to who we spend time to, who we spend time with. And I believe that Jesus did the same thing. That we sow and we plant seeds into every life. And so everybody that we come into contact with, we come into contact with people at the market or at our work or recreation or wherever, we're always sowing seeds. And hopefully they're positive seeds. Hopefully they're seeds of life. Hopefully that you've chosen to become a positive person and a life-giving person. And so we sow seeds. Different people will respond. And so my experience when I first started here in Cambodia, that I would teach English classes. And so I would notice, oh, everybody wants to come to English classes, but really only a few actually came. And when in all areas of life, people will raise their hand, they'll say, yeah, I want to do that, I want to jump on board, but not everybody will do it. All right? That is a key to us. People respond at various levels. And we can say, for example, 30% level of commitment, 60% level of commitment, and 100% level of commitment. And so people respond to us many times when I've offered to meet with somebody for a Bible study, I've offered to meet with somebody for some leadership training, or even to meet for coffee or anything like that. Is that often the people will say, yes, I want to do that, but then they won't do it. Oh, sorry, I'm busy, I have this excuse, that excuse. All right, and so I wait and I see what happens. Are they going to come back? I've reached out to them. Maybe I'll reach out to them again. But if they don't reach back, they have shown to me what their level of commitment is. And people's level of commitment changes throughout life. In certain seasons of our life, we're busy and we just can't do it. We want to do it. We have a good heart. We make an effort, but we don't. And so I don't throw people away. I don't ever just totally throw them out and say, no, never again. I realize that this may be a season of their life that they want to do it, but they can't do it. All right, so I'm not judgmental, but it does determine how much I invest in them. And so if people respond to me with a 30% commitment, I respond to them with a 30% commitment. 60%, 100%. So to the level that people respond to me, that's the level that I respond back to them. And so many times that some people, I offer a Bible study, a discipleship group, or anything like that, a trip or an activity for them to join me on. And if they respond just a little bit, they don't show up, Sometimes I don't offer them that opportunity again. I wait for them to respond back to me. But there are some that show a higher level of commitment. I spend more time with them. And the higher level of commitment, the more I try to invest in them. I believe that that's what Jesus is trying to say here. That some people respond to the gospel 30%, 60%, 100%. Other people respond to discipleship or whatever we have going on. And so the discipler responds to those who respond to him according to their level of response. And so I have a chart that I'm looking at here. It says their response is 100%. The discipler's response is 100%. If their response is 60%, the discipler's response is 60%. And so the lower response they have to me, the lower obligation I feel that I have to them. And so as I said, I don't throw anybody out and say, never again will I give you an opportunity, but it's not my priority. Is that I believe that maybe it's not their timing. Maybe somebody else is supposed to invest in them. And so the point is this: spend most of your time and resources with people who have the most potential and are able to reproduce others. You have to look at this. Many people don't like it, but this is just how it is. If I spend so much time with a person of low capacity and low potential, and they produce almost nothing just because that's their level in life, it's not the greatest return for my investment. What I would do is I would find someone else to invest in them. And then I would invest in people that have a higher potential of producing fruit for the Lord. And so, as I said, I don't cast them out, but for me, no, it is not for me. I'm sorry, it is not for me to spend time with you. But I will find somebody else that it would be good for them. And I don't say this, but at their level, this person is just fine for them at their level. But I have to choose, the same as Jesus did. As I said, Jesus ministered to the multitudes, but he focused on his disciples. And so we look for potential, we look for ability, and we look for their heart. Do they have a sincere heart? They may have a lot of ability, a lot of potential to develop ability, but do they have a sincere heart too? And so we organize our weekly schedule according to this principle, that I determine who I meet with. And that, so maybe we use the 80-20 principle, is I spend 80% of my time with these people that I really feel the Lord wants me to invest in their life because they're going to become disciples, they're going to become leaders, and I spend 20% of my time with others. And so for me, that is a good balance. The 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle. We also need to consider the parable of the obedient son, found in Matthew 21, verses 28 through 32. There were two sons, and the father asked one son, will you come and help me do this? And the son said, yes, I'll do it. All excited. I'm with you, man. I'm with you, Dad. But he didn't do it. The second son said, no, I'm not going to do it. But then he felt guilty, and he turned around and he did it. And so if people say that they will do it, but they don't do it, then I don't spend much time with them. But if I see people, maybe they say they're not going to do it, but then later they change their mind, that shows me something about the heart of these people. It shows me the first person, maybe he had a good heart, maybe he didn't have a good heart, but he didn't do it. He spoke too fast. I've met so many people, they speak fast. Yes, I'm going to give money. I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to help. But they don't. All right, God bless you. And I'm not angry with you, but now you've determined the kind of relationship, you have determined the kind of relationship we're going to have. But whereas somebody else, they show me that they're repentant, they regret it, and they jump in. It shows me that they have a good heart. And so we can develop people skills, but we cannot develop the heart. Remember that. A person's heart is a person's heart. Only God can change their heart. I can help develop their skills, but I can't change their heart. And so it's for that reason I've chosen to disciple people who have less ability, but they have a good heart. There's many people who have a lot of ability who want to be discipled, but there's something wrong with their heart. their character or their attitude, or they're not managing their time or their life well. And so for me, I've had no problem choosing people who have lower capacity, lower ability, but I see that they have potential, and trying to invest in them. And so we know the heart of a person by watching their actions. Jesus said in Luke 6:45 that from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so if you want to know what a person's heart is like, just watch them and listen to them. All right? And so this is the short lesson on priorities. And to try and summarize, we can't do everything. We can't meet with everybody. And so we have to prioritize. How do we prioritize? Well, I prioritize by saying people who have a good heart, but maybe not as much ability, but they have potential to have that ability develop. They do what I ask them to do. These are the people that I'm going to spend time with, and I'm going to develop them. 80-20, so 80% of my time would be spent with those kind of people, or people that are growing, that I can help them rise to a new level of discipleship or leadership. And then 20% I spend with people who maybe don't have the same potential, maybe they don't even have the same heart. So as I said, I don't throw them away, I spend time with them, but just not as much time with them. So you have to be strategic, you have to be purposeful what you do with your time, because you and I have a limited amount of time. So that's a discipleship principle for me anyway, and I believe it's biblical, is that we set priorities on who we're going to disciple and who we're going to invest in. All right, so that's the short lesson here.